Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samaa News. Here are today's headlines. Pakistan will host Saudi Arabia, Turkey and Egypt for talks from Sunday on the Iran war, as Islamabad positions itself as a potential venue for U.S. Iran negotiations on the month-old conflict. The four countries' foreign ministers will hold in-depth discussions on a range of issues, including efforts to de-escalate tensions in the region during the two-day talks. Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan said the meeting would seek to establish a mechanism aimed at de-escalation. He told a broadcaster that they would discuss where the negotiations in this war are heading and how these four countries assess the situation and what can be done. On the other hand, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has held a detailed telephonic conversation with Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, focusing on rising regional tensions and efforts to restore peace. The hour-long discussion comes amid escalating hostilities in the Middle East. During the call, both leaders held extensive discussions on the evolving situation in the region and the urgent need for peace. Pezeshkian appreciated Pakistan's diplomatic engagement and acknowledged its efforts to promote dialogue. He stressed the importance of building trust to enable meaningful negotiations and mediation. Meanwhile, the Middle East conflict has escalated sharply as Yemen's Houthis launched missiles at Israel for the first time since the Iran war began. Yemen's Iran-aligned Houthis confirmed they launched a barrage of missiles at Israel on Saturday, marking their first direct involvement since the war began on February 28th. Israel said it intercepted a missile fired from Yemen, preventing major damage. The Houthis warned their operations would continue until what they described as aggression across multiple fronts comes to an end.
At least 12 U.S. troops were injured when Iran launched missiles and drones at Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. 2 personnel were seriously hurt and 10 others sustained concussions. Several U.S. refueling aircraft were damaged in the strike. The attack came hours after Israeli airstrikes targeted Iranian nuclear sites and forms part of Iran's ongoing Operation Promise Sadiq 4, which also struck U.S. forces in Dubai and Kuwait. The escalation adds to previous losses, including 7 Army reservists killed in a drone attack in Kuwait and 6 airmen in an Iraq KC-135 crash. Over 300 U.S. service members have been wounded since the conflict began. Israel struck multiple Iranian nuclear and industrial sites on Friday, including a uranium processing facility in Yazd, the Kondab heavy water complex, and 2 major steel plants. 18 people were killed in Qom, while Iran reported no radiation leaks. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi vowed retaliation, saying they will pay a heavy price. Analysts warn the strikes are hitting civilians, damaging infrastructure, and worsening humanitarian conditions, with global food insecurity expected to rise. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says Washington can achieve its objectives against Iran within weeks without deploying ground troops. Rubio also addressed rising violence by Israeli settlers in the West Bank, noting UN estimates of over 1,000 Palestinian deaths since October 2023. He said the US has expressed concern and suggested Israel may act to curb the attacks. He also warns that any move by Tehran to impose tolls in the Strait of Hormuz would be illegal and dangerous. Iran's UN envoy Amir Saeed Iravani has raised alarm at the United Nations over reports that senior officials were listed as assassination targets by the US and Israel. In a letter to the United Nations Security Council, he named Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf and Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, warning the threat appears real. Iravani called it a violation of international law as the reports emerge alongside ongoing negotiations. Russian President Vladimir Putin says his country's relations with Europe are in crisis, but insists Moscow is not responsible. Speaking at a weekly Security Council meeting, he rejected claims linking the breakdown to the war in Ukraine, blaming past US policy and European support for political change in Kyiv. Putin said Russia has not abandoned ties with European nations and remains open to restoring relations with the European Union, despite ongoing tensions.
That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching Samaa News.